Breaking right now on Denver 7 News at 7 a.m. on Local 3, a deadly police shooting on an RTD bus. New details released overnight about how it all went down right in front of passengers.
We've seen the heartbreaking images coming out of Hurricane Ian's path. What President Biden will promise to people in the damage zone trying to get back on their feet.
And the Broncos got bucked by the Raiders, and now they have a short week to get ready for Thursday's game.
And what a gift. We got a lot of season left. We can respond the right way.
Yes, the advantages of a quick turnaround this week. We want to begin this morning with some breaking news for your morning drive.
A big crash on Interstate 25 is making a mess in the North Metro. Let's get right out to traffic expert Jason Luber.
Yeah, this is technically up in Broomfield on northbound I-25 up there at the Erie exit, Highway 7. It is closed down. Northbound is right now. The driver was not injured, which is good news, but the bad news is if you take a look from Air Tracker 7 up there, we have a full closure of northbound I-25. Here's the truck that rolled over. It has a trailer as well. You see some of the debris here. It's actually another big pile of debris back that way. This is where traffic is being diverted off to Highway 7 up to the traffic light where there is no officer actually helping people get through the intersection. You would think that would be standard protocol to send somebody up there to direct highway traffic volumes across the light and then back onto northbound I-25, but that has not happened now. They have a tow truck on the way to help clean this up, but it is going to be a lengthy delay. Look at right now, 100 minutes, which is an hour and a half on that northbound side. This is registering from 104th all the way to here, so Huron to the west, Washington to the east, up to Highway 7 can help you get around it because it's going to be a big mess, and it will be for some time. The other trouble spot, Lisa, out to the west side where we have northbound Wadsworth still closed at Colfax for a crash out that way.
Rough for a Monday. We are looking at some cloud cover out there. That's going to help with at least that bright eastbound drive. You can see briefly we're going to see some of that sunshine, but actually a gorgeous shot here from our Civic Center camera. Upper 40s and low 50s as you step out the door. Here within the next few hours, we'll see some mid to upper 50s by about 9 o'clock, getting well into the 60s by lunchtime, and then near 70 for a high. Denver 70, Fort Collins 70, 50s and 60s in the mountains. Now there will be a pretty good chance for some showers here this afternoon. It'll develop by early afternoon along the I-25 corridor, and then it'll continue through tonight. May even, you guys, see a little bit more snow above about 11,000 feet. We saw some this weekend on those peaks. It made for a really pretty start to the mornings.
Well, also breaking this morning, a man shot aboard an RTD bus has died. Police confronted him after he robbed a convenience store with a knife and then ran onto a bus full of passengers. Overnight, police said the suspect lived at a nearby halfway house. Officers used their tasers, released a police dog, and ultimately fired their weapons. No police or others on the bus were hurt.
Also this morning, we're learning more about a shooting on the Hill just off CU Boulder's campus, and it was caught on camera. So take a look at this. Very soon in this video, you will see a man pulling out a gun, firing at least 2 shots. Boulder police say officers were nearby. There he goes with the gun right there. And when they did respond, people were still actively shooting. One officer fired his weapon, and one suspect, a man, was shot in the arm. He is expected to be okay. No officers or bystanders were injured, but at least 3 other suspects remain on the loose. We spoke with a sophomore at CU who says that he shot the video that's been shared all over social media.
It's scary, I'm fearing for my life almost, even though they weren't trying to aim at us. I've never had an experience like that in my life where, someone's trying to kill somebody right in front of me. Not in Colorado, not ever, not anywhere else.
Don't know right now if the suspects knew each other or if this incident involves any students. The officer who fired his weapon is on paid administrative leave. That is Boulder Police's policy. The critical incident response team is investigating the incident.
Well, new this morning, a report shows which crimes have increased the most in our state this year.
Denver 7's Veronica Acosta got a chance to look through that report. And Veronica, what did you learn?
Well, first off, the report was done by a group that's called Common Sense Institute, and it found that the number of crimes that have happened so far this year right here in Colorado have increased in 7 different categories. We know robbery, arson, car thefts, those are just 3 of those categories. Buying stolen property, vandalism, prostitution and pandering, drug possession and sales, and homelessness are the rest. A couple of crimes really stick out in this report. I just mentioned car thefts that we've heard so much about this year. The report found there was a more than 13% increase in these kinds of crimes this year, right here in Colorado. It also found our state ranked second in crimes against property in the U.S. And fentanyl, something else that we've talked so much about in recent months. The report found law enforcement officers seized more fentanyl in the first 5 months of this year compared to all of 2021. Now listen to why one person who helped put this report together says the Common Sense Institute does this kind of work.
So the idea was initially to get some awareness out there, but also what we were trying to do is get the policy leaders to go back and look at the things they've done over the last 10 years to see if they could adjust those things.
For some added context, Morrissey, who you just heard from there, said the report they did back in 2021 found that the increase in crimes then had cost Coloradans about $30 billion collectively. We're in Denver this morning. I'm Veronica Acosta, Denver 7.
Veronica, thank you. New this morning, the death toll from Hurricane Ian is rising. So far, at least 70 people in Florida and North Carolina were killed by the powerful storm. Almost all of the victims were in Florida, where rescue and recovery operations are still underway, and residents are already pledging to rebuild. Here's ABC's Jay O'Brien.
This morning, as the death toll from Hurricane Ian rises, new images emerge showing the storm's destructive power. Helicopters from the Coast Guard and National Guard continue to conduct rescue missions. More than 2,300 people rescued from the air so far, with more saved by boat from barrier islands cut off from the mainland by the storm.
And the water just kept pounding the house, and we watched boats, houses, we watched everything just go flying by. We've lost so much at this point, so we appreciate you guys being here.
Residents already pledging to rebuild.
But it will need a complete rebuild. Electric grid, water systems, it's going to take a lot of work, but it will come back.
Further inland, the flood damage is vast. After more than 2 million people were left without power, state officials say this morning more than half have their lights back on. But along the state's southwestern coast, still reeling after a direct hit, Floridians are returning home to communities gone. And in Lee County, facing the highest death toll, new questions about why local leaders ordered an evacuation on Tuesday instead of Monday like neighboring areas. State officials, including Governor Ron DeSantis, saying the storm's track changed at the last minute.
We did what we had to do at the exact same time. I wouldn't have changed anything. And I know, being in those meetings from the very minute, this storm was very unpredictable.
President Biden is now planning to visit Florida on Wednesday to survey damage from Ian, exactly a week after the storm first made landfall. Jay O'Brien, ABC News, Washington.
Obviously, so many people in need of so much help. Denver 7 has opened a fund to help families impacted by Hurricane Ian. Through the Scripps Howard Fund, we're accepting donations towards Hurricane Ian relief. You can text STORM to 50155 or scan the QR code right there on your screen. That's going to take you directly to the web page to donate on denver7.com.
Well, hopefully for the Broncos, what happened in Vegas will stay in Vegas.
That's a good one.
Because despite some good moments, there were just too many mistakes again, and the Broncos fell to the Raiders.
But there's no time to be sad about this loss. There is a quick turnaround. They play the Colts on Thursday right here in Denver. And our Broncos insider Troy Rink has what needs to change before the team takes the field.
This year was supposed to be different. The Broncos have a new coach, a new quarterback. They were going to have new luck against the Raiders here in Las Vegas. Instead, the Broncos dropped their 7th straight road game against the Raiders. It was the cliche. Too many penalties, too many drops, too many mistakes. The Broncos have to regroup with a Thursday night game waiting at home against the Colts.
You know, coming up Thursday night football, we get to play at home. It will be a great challenge. You know, a really good football team, a lot of talent, you know, on that team, and we got to be able to respond. And the good thing is you got to have amnesia. You know, you got to be able to forget what went really well. Got to be able to forget what didn't go so well, and just you know, be focused on the next moment.
It ain't hard to regroup. We got all the confidence in the world in each other, man. It ain't hard to regroup one bit. I'm glad we got a game in 3 days, 4 days. That's the best, right? You get to get this taste out of your mouth and go back and get another win and get back on the plus side of the win column this season.
While it's easy to blame the defense for their inability to stop Josh Jacobs, the Broncos punted 4 straight times to start the second half. They need more consistency across the board. Reporting from Allegiant Stadium, Troy Rink, Denver 7.
Well, Thursday night's primetime game is over on Denver 7. It's the Broncos and Colts from Empower Field. Denver 7's pregame coverage starts at 5 p.m. Thursday. We are the only broadcast station carrying the game, and then stick around afterwards for our postgame coverage.
Up next, the changes to the A-Line schedule that could impact your ride to work or your next flight. And just how much Colorado is bucking national trends when it comes to the price you pay at the pump.